Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? I am so excited to be here. Are you kidding me? I have this whole app that is a fake audience making that noise. I love it, though. It makes me feel like so precious. Oh my gosh, everybody's so happy that I'm here. Anyway, today we are going to be sharing time with Cruz. I don't know if you know her, but you should Google her if you don't. She's one of me. So saw a challenge in the industry and went and did something about it. So imagine if we all raised our hand and said, hey, you know what? I think there's something we can do better, because this world only gets better when we do better. But also this morning, my husband is like the master at, well, he's the brainchild behind all the development, because he was a subcontractor for 47 years. I mean, we laugh about up from the ashes, because we really lost everything that we had whenever his company was expected to build a project with manipulated data, and we closed his business. I mean, 47 years. I mean, you can talk to Dominic anytime about any kind of issue on your construction project. He knows it. He's been there. He's lived it. So we're not out in the industry impacting from a perspective of, well, maybe we should try this. We're from a perspective of knowing. We know what needs to be done, and we know that manipulated data will kill the industry. So we're here to do something about it. So anyway, this morning, Dominic, we were having coffee, and he laughs because he doesn't drink coffee. But anyway, I got him converted, so he has a little bit of warm stuff in the morning with me. And we noticed that there was a big article in the ENR magazine about Belfour Betty getting busted for manipulated data on a P3. And so anyway, we laughed. We're like, well, why would Belfour Betty be the example that the government wants to use when the government manipulates their data? The Corps of Engineers, that's standard for them to manipulate their data so it looks like their project's doing good. So like, why Belfour Betty? I don't know. I'm going to call him today and say, hey, you know what, guys, I'm sorry you're a scapegoat, but there's something you can do about it. So I want to remind you that there is an opportunity for everyone to be on a project and everyone to be in the driver's seat. There is an opportunity for you, the owner, for the first time not to be manipulated. And that's a whole nother story, right? Like manipulating the information. I mean, are you kidding me? But if you don't believe me and you think, well, is she really telling the truth? Just call me. I mean, I'm the CEO that answers my phone. My direct line is 816-479-0261. I believe in humanity. I believe that people want to do the right thing, but I believe in this industry, it's really hard to do the right thing. So join us today in Construction 2030 as we interview Cruz. Quick intro. So this is Cruz. We met at the Smart Airports Conference in San Antonio, where, truth be told, I bought my way onto the stage because I was a sponsor. I'm like, look, I'll give you 10,000 if you give me the microphone. And so they're like, do you want a booth too? Yeah, I want a booth too, but I need the microphone. So anyway, you were in the audience, and I loved it because I just saw the joy on your face. Like, she's really saying this. I'm like, yeah. I'm really saying this. I paid people to stand up and give me a standing ovation, so I didn't get any Rotten Tomatoes thrown at me. But I love your resume. So 30 years in the industry. That's hello. Right. You were in the industry whenever there was no females in the industry.
It was very few and far between.
Yeah, and definitely. So you could tell some war stories, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. I think so. I mean, when I think about how long and what has progressed, and where I really notice it, not only is it the gender issue and the number of females that are now in architecture and engineering, because they weren't back then. Yeah. They were the people that they were the office staff, whether yes. It was HR or marketing or accounting or, yeah. You know, the lady at the front desk when we all the big architecture firms had lobbies, you know, and you go in and you check in. But what I've really noticed over the decades is how the industry has changed from a technology perspective. And that is, I mean, well, you can even go backwards and think about cell phones. And now everybody has a phone in their hand. You know, you go to the grocery store or the airport or wherever you're going, and somebody has a phone in their hand and they're walking and they're on the phone. And we didn't back then. We didn't.
I know. We read the newspaper, which I love the newspaper.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. I'm like, I think I'm really missing, and my kids ate the newspaper because it made all the crinkling noise, you know, and I'm like, don't eat the newspaper, but they would have ink all over them because they love that crinkle. And, you know, now paper's gone away, so you don't get to flip the sheets, and there's just so much that's changed. But mostly that remains is there's still kind people out there. There's still people that want to do good. there's still people that say, hey, is there a better way? And you are definitely one of those. So
that's what I'm always looking for, is a way. Let's do something a little bit more efficiently.
yeah,
Quit spinning our wheels, quit recreating what's gone before us.
yeah,
Learn from those mistakes and those errors, because we
yeah,
got that capability.
I know.
And I so enjoyed, Shelley, your presentation that day. Been there, done that. Everything that you were saying up there on that stage, and that's what made me smile so much and nod my head all the time, was it's like, yes, I can relate to you.
Yes. Well, I mean, but we lost everything we owned because of that. I mean, I write in my articles that it was $1 million, but it was $1 million that it cost us to close the company. We didn't go bankrupt or anything. People are like, well, did you go bankrupt? No, actually, we spent everything we had to finish the job, close the company, and then we closed a company that could have been worth, I don't know, $5 million easy. But we were just like overwhelmed with like, it's never going to be different. And then out of the ashes, as my mom says, the chitty chitty bang bang song, up from the ashes. I'm like, that is such a that is my favorite movie, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. But anyway, so here we are now. But I was reading in the magazine this morning, ENR, which is, the magazine, the resource, that Balfour Betty got busted for manipulating data on a
Oh,
project.
okay.
And I thought, how unfair, because the government manipulates data. I mean, the Corps of Engineers, you can't track those projects because all the data gets manipulated. And it's just like, oh, so they're the scapegoat. But I thought it was interesting because, of course, I'm going to reach out to them one day and say, hey, there's a better way you can do this. But yeah, it's just such a chronic problem. It's just such a chronic problem. But hopefully, it'll all turn around.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. It's interesting, because now that we're dealing with data, and again, it gets back to technology. I mean, it was a little, I think, without really recalling what happened 30 plus years ago, I think it was more difficult to manipulate data, because
Yes.
we weren't operating, we were in the hard paper, especially when it comes to design and construction and thinking about the built environment and what it was that, I was doing for a living back then. Um, because it was paper and it was a lot of work. And with the advent of CAD, and we started doing that, and then word processing came along, and we changed all of that too. And we go from DOS to Microsoft and Office and all of the Windows products, and just one step after the other. And yeah, I think there's a lot of shortcuts being taken, a lot of lessons
Yeah.
being learned. There's a lot of positives. There's a ton of negatives too.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
agree with you. I agree.
I think the sorrow for me is just the families that get ruined because of the stress of the industry. I mean, low bid doesn't mean fair bid. Bid means you're low bid. You now
Right.
got to figure out how to finish it, but you don't even know if you bid all the same documents that someone else bid.
Exactly.
So, just like, how did that? So if that was a bank, I always equate, like, if this was a bank and you walked in and said, hey, you know what? I'd like to withdraw $100, but go ahead and give me 500 because I'm sure you have a contingency back there somewhere. I'm just like, that would never work in the banking world or in school. If you went to your prince or to your teacher and said, listen, I know I flunked that test. Go ahead and give me a B because I know there's a contingency in there somewhere. It would never work in any other trade in the world. But in this trade, it's just been the wild, wild west of like, well, just do what you want to do and try to get caught. It's almost like that. You know what I'm saying?
Almost. Yeah. Almost.
And
Like that.
everybody suffers. Like everyone suffers. I had a phone call on Sunday with a vice president of a huge general contractor, and he didn't want to go on the record, but he's just like, do you know what it's like to build with, his word was incomplete data. I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. He goes, no, it's just data is different now because it's like the internet eats it. I always laugh, like whenever you send a set of drawings and then the internet takes a glimpse, like a break, and then you don't get everything and you're like, well, don't they have everything? No, the internet ate it. So I kind of joke like the dryer and the sock, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's intentional, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So
It becomes
spec
an
writer.
excuse. It becomes an excuse or a reason
Yes.
also for not doing something properly.
Yeah.
You can blame it on the internet, or I sent that, or it's on this SharePoint site or whatever. And well, we don't know what happened to it. It was there yesterday, or
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, Oh my God, I just kind of want to be a whole 24-hour talk about, okay, well, this is what we found on this drawing. Well, this is what this, I mean, like people emailing behind the owner's back and saying, open, close ASI and make these changes. And it's just like, well, does the owner know? Well, oh, we forgot to email him. I don't think you forgot. We'll go ahead and forward it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because
Yeah.
gatekeepers of everything, you can't do that anymore.
Well,
But anyway, it's interesting. Okay, so question, this is my intrigue. So being a spec writer, and what is your most like thing right now going, oh my gosh, that's so cool? Is there like a really cool thing? I mean, I'm watching the glass thing where the glass is changing.
okay, you're talking about products or something
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
said that? Okay.
yeah.
Okay. This is so cool. One of the things, and it's been around, it's not new. Well, it depends upon your relativity as far as your timeline is concerned. One of the things that I'm really intrigued about, especially when it comes to security or privacy, is maybe this is what you're hinting at, Shelley, is the glass that can provide that privacy with the flip of the switch.
Yes.
But again, it's been around for years, the technology, and I'm sure it's getting improved. But there isn't one thing in particular that I see anymore. I think I shared with you that day, and of course that's why I was at Smart Airports, is I primarily deal with our commercial airports. So a lot of the stuff that we put in these projects is the typical what you see: terrazzo floor, the restroom features, and what we can do. And of course, now with COVID, everything is truly focused on as much of the touchless, the antibacterial, anything. That is what we're doing or focusing in on now, is how we make our entire environment a lot more safe for all of us that do want to travel or be in these public situations. So there's a lot of that you see the manufacturers are pushing, or they're trying to go that direction. The other thing is self-sufficiency, or you could call it sustainability or environmentalism. What are your power sources, and the idea of ensuring that we don't go down. If there's a power outage, you've got to keep the airports running, that type of operational thing. So that's the type of stuff that I look for or look at. So it's kind of, you travel a lot, you know what I'm talking about. So you see, those architectural finishes and the things that are the bones of the building.
I have one request. Could they make the soap last? I mean, whenever you put your hand underneath there, could they give me more than a little bitty pea-sized soap? I mean, like, I need some soap. So I'm like, in the bathroom. Okay. They have gotten better about the paper towels being a little bit bigger, because it used to be this little bitty piece of paper towel. I'm like, I need to dry my hands, but anyway, it's just like the little things like that now because of COVID that you just are like so aware of.
And I want them to work.
Yes.
I want them to work. But that goes both directions, though. That not only is your custodial staff ensuring that all of those devices, and especially in the restrooms, are full all the time.
Yes.
So you, as John Q. Public, when you go in there and you put your hand under a touch-free soap dispenser, something comes out.
Yes.
But it also is a maintenance type thing. Sometimes the batteries go bad or something. And so the maintenance staff has to ensure that those devices all work. It's one thing to specify them and put them in a project. It's another thing to ensure that they continually work and provide the whatever the service is, whether it's soap or paper towel, since that's what you brought up.
Well,
this is becoming efficient.
This is interesting because, we're building closeout from day one. So the specifications for that soap machine needs to get to facilities.
Yes.
They need to know, like, how do I open this soap machine? So even the minute details on these projects are so critically important. So like, we've got all that. Okay, I have a question. So my futuristic thought, and I don't know, I'm just thinking this. So all of our airports, because we build a lot of airports, it all has the same thing, but they're all in data silos. Like here, this airport over here, so our very first project, the warranty on the glass was changed behind the owner's back. And the general contractor was setting precedents for his world headquarters. It was all glass. We didn't find this out till later. But as they're bidding, Bob Fraser called and said, hey, we're not getting any glaziers. And I don't even know that I say that right. Like after our presentation in San Antonio, somebody told me that it's artisans, not artisans. Artisans are beer people, but I'm still like with artisans. So I don't even know if I say glaziers right. So whatever. Anyway. Bob Fraser called Dominic and said, have you heard that there's a shortage of glaziers in Kansas City? And Dominic said, and I haven't heard that. And Dominic said, well, search the warranties and find out what the warranty is on the glass. So Bob Fraser goes, what do you mean search? And Dominic said, well, we've spent millions of dollars so that in 2 seconds you can get knowledge. So he found out that the warranty had been switched to 50 years instead of whatever it was supposed to be, I think 7. So his glass bids were like, I don't even know, 70 times higher, something ridiculous. Anyway, so the point of my story is that at the end of the project, I was like, how many people actually have the ability to find out what is standard for the glass? How do I know that I am getting what the other airport's getting, right? How do I know? So anyway, I'm playing with this whole idea of, Google. I don't even know. I don't have the big picture yet, but I'm just like, gosh, if I was the director of an airport and I saw a bid that was like, whatever, I would love the power to go, okay, what was the warranty on the glass at the San Antonio International Airport? Yeah, it's warmer there, but I'm down here or whatever. Like, wouldn't that be such amazing power? Am I ridiculous?
They are quite a network, believe it or not.
Okay.
Not necessarily down to the level of detail that you're talking about though right now. But I like to think of them as they feed off one another. They help one another and mentor one another. It is truly, I'll use the word fraternal type of organizations across the board. The relationships that they build, it's just amazing. To me, and it's a positive thing. It's a positive thing. But one of the things, and you bringing up warranties, is one of the things that I'm finding anymore. And you have the owner side, and then, of course, the design team, and then you've got the construction team. The owner might want something, the owner being the airport in this particular case, and whether it's an extended warranty, like what you're describing with the glazing, or just something standard, is that things do get changed all through all these phases of the work. And so that if the owner doesn't have an active voice at the table or gets this feedback, voila, there's a surprise at the end that he didn't get exactly what he thought he was buying. And that is a really big concern. And sometimes it happens with him knowing, and he just loses. It's almost like it's a voting process. And the owner says, I want X, but the design team and the construction team say, no, we really have to do Y. And it becomes, who's paying the bill? You would think the owner would always win out and buy what he wants. But it's not necessarily the case. And it doesn't have to be our commercial airports that fall into that category. That doesn't matter what industry it is.
Right.
It happens, and I'm sure you see it too.
Oh yeah, we see it. I mean, sometimes I go to bed at night and I'm just like, how do the owners of the airports even sleep at night? I don't, or whatever project we're doing. Like, we built a non-nuclear facility, $1 billion project, and we were talking yesterday. So we've had 1,500 projects, and we've only had one that had litigation. One out of 1,500. But you know what the one was from? It was a project, and I'm not going to say where because
please don't.
Anyway, but the general contractor was mandated by the owner, and the general contractor said, no. We're at least going to get our way with the email and change orders. We're just going to use email for change orders. And so we're sitting at the table and we're like, that's going to cost you so much because nobody can track that. $8 million.
Wow.
Yeah, the general contractor called me and because, they were trying to be asses. People don't like to be told what to do, but in this industry, just shut up and do it. But anyway, so it was so funny because this contractor really pushed back in the beginning, and really we had a battle getting the documents and doing what we needed to do. But anyway, so I get this phone call and he says, Shelley. I'm like, yes. I'm like, can I help you? Because, it was just funny. Anyway, he goes, well, I'm standing here with blah, blah, blah. And they put a security system in this courthouse that's from China. It wasn't spec'd. And I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? Well, I need you to tell me when they got the approved specification. I'm like, well, it's 2 seconds right here. Click. Here's his name. Here's what time he got it. And here's what he had. He goes, it would have cost me millions of dollars to find out what you gave me in 2 minutes. And he could have done it himself. He could have clicked the button and had the whole thing, but I don't know if he wanted me to be a witness or what. And I was just like, that was really, really weird. So the subcontractor had to pull out all the security system, but it was his own fault because he had the information he needed in order to do it. But in the past, he's been able to get away with substandard or sub whatever because there's been no way to hold him accountable. So I was just like, wow. So I went home that night going, I don't even know what just happened. Well, I found out that was a general contractor that $8 million they lost because they were tracking changes in emails. I mean, they were sending change orders through the email. I'm like, oh my gosh. But anyway, it's those kind of stories that I'm just like, God, can you imagine what it would be like to have to sleep at night without NyQuil? I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Okay, so what's your next conference that I'm going to see you at?
Oh, I don't know. Where are you going to go? I haven't got anything truly. I'm going to be at Salt Lake Airport. So I need to send you info on that. Salt Lake City is going to host the IFMA Airport Council in May, the first week of May.
Okay.
So I know definitely that I'm going to be there.
Okay.
Something I need to get you involved with.
Well, I'm going to sponsor, I'm in the middle of this huge conversation with AAAE for construction. I honestly don't even know the details. Chelsea's handling it, but I'm like, the only way I'm going to sponsor is if you give me the microphone. And don't tell me that I can't have the microphone because all the other big companies are sitting up there on the stage and they all paid to be a sponsor. So give me the microphone. I'm impacting the industry. So either I get the microphone or I'm not going. That's my new thing. Like, I'm paying my money. Yes, I'm saying they're uncomfortable, but this benefits the industry. So
where are you heading next?
I don't know for sure. I mean, I spent 2 weeks in Thermopolis, Wyoming.
Okay.
So I'm buying a laundromat in Thermopolis. Is that hilarious? Well, what I found out is my genius is not when I'm sitting here at my office. My genius is when I'm working. So anyway, I love cleaning stuff. So Sugar and Papa's Laundromat's launching. My daughter's buying a motel there. It's just this place that I needed a stress release. So I'm like, okay. So I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to be next. I know that my schedule's filling up because my goal is just to get in as many places and help the industry not ever have to be my husband's suffering.
Well, I can tell you airports at work, that's ACI. I assume you were also visiting with ACI.
Yes, I am.
That's late April. So I'll probably be there. I've already mentioned the IFMA Airport Council. That'll be the first week of May.
Okay.
And then AAAE is in Seattle the first week of June.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll cross paths at least one of those.
Yes, I will be there and we will be like laughing about, oh my gosh, that was so much fun. Let's go change the world. That's what I'm saying.
Well, we really need to do stuff like this again, seriously,
yes.
And visit. You know, it doesn't have to be a recording. I just love being able to talk to somebody like you and everything that you have experienced because I thoroughly enjoyed your presentation, Shelley, that day, whether your husband did or not. It was funny.
Yeah, I love it. He's just Mr. Certainty and I'm Mrs. Uncertainty. So perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate your championing. Is that it? Championing?
You're close. You're close.
Yeah, me at the conference. Because, you know, sometimes standing in front of a microphone, your mouth dries out and you're just like, pretty sure my body's going, what are we doing? But you got to do it anyway. Yeah.
You take care. Stay healthy, okay?
Yes.
I'll stay in touch.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.